Hi, all. Welcome to Behind the Bots, the podcast that brings you the stories and the people behind the robots. From Cincinnati, Ohio, and Bowie, Maryland, this is Behind the Bots. I'm Jake.
And I'm Brandon.
Good to see everyone today. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, looking at life and all things related to it.
Today, we have a very special guest, Joshua Rhinehart. You know him from Kazaa and the many tournament wins that he has pulled off. If you like our show, please rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Player FM, and Podbean. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Behind the Bots. Go subscribe. Come check out the YouTube channel. We're going to start moving the VODs over there. Doing more of that in the future. Tell a friend. We really appreciate your support. Brandon, what does the calendar look like? What's going on?
All right. So just like the World Cup that's happening right now in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, there are events happening all across the world as well, namely in the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, Latvia, France, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, and Czechia. Biggest event this month that is now passed is coming up, actually. It's Battle in the Berg, which is in Bloomsburg, PA. The 57 robots competing in the ant weights, plastic ant weights, and beetle weight classes. Please check out robotcombatevents.com. Shout out to RCE, which hosted the Robot Combat League World Championships, which also happened this past month. Congratulations to the winners of that, too. Check out Builders Database and check out bristolbotbuilders.com for all of these events and events all across the world. And now we enter an interview with Josh. Josh, how's it going?
I'm excited to be here and talking about bots.
You know, that is what we do on Behind the Bots. So that kind of flows pretty well then, because you, being the person behind the bot, tell us your story. How did you get behind the bot?
Well, I had started back at NHL back in the good olden days down at the other warehouse. Back in 2019 was my first competition. I brought a bot called Good Times, which was a fire robot, because I've basically only brought fire robots to NHL. So it didn't do the best. We got some free, what we thought was Lexan for the top cover, and it turned out to be polycarbonate. And we learned the difference very quickly between the two. And but it was a great time. It got us hooked, and we've loved it ever since. We took a break for a while due to kind of COVID and all that fun stuff, and truthfully, just like, you know, back then it was a lot more lax, so there was a few more tournaments that I signed up for that I didn't actually make it to than I really should have. So eventually I was like, nah, I'm gonna take a break. But then back in January 2023, we were like, hey, we haven't done this for a while, let's get back into it. And we've been, I think, at basically every event since. I was trying to I was trying to do the math.
It sure seems like that.
Yeah, well, you know, we're slightly a degen now, and we live close enough that there's no reason not to go. So, but we basically we came back with another fire bot that did not do very well. It was what was it? It was Good Times, I think. No, Good Times was the first bot. Wow, I forget my second robot's name. Anyways, it was a little blip in history. You know, it was made as so many robots are early on, where you're like, this seems like a good size, and then you end up like half a pound overweight in a 3-pound class, and all of a sudden you're drilling crazy holes in your robot just to make weight. So, and then we were like, wait, if we could make it, we don't need all this room. I think we could wrap the whole thing in titanium, and that was the first version of like Kazaa that actually did well. And since then, we kind of we joined during the time of NHL where they're expanding rapidly. So our first year, we hit the wall where they're like, hey, we went from always going to accept everyone to now we have a cap. So we tried out 12-pound class, and still have not done well in 12-pound class. I
Sweaty
reward
class.
you, Jake.
We're dirty. We're dirty.
That is the hard class.
Yeah, hard class.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You got to come up to the 30s. It's I feel like it's not as like everyone is like a college person who's dedicating their whole life to like making their robot better.
That's it. So you've been on fire, as it were, since the beginning. What attracted you to wanting to make a fire robot, and why was that the archetype that you wanted to go with?
Well, I think I want to do something different. And truthfully, even when we was first starting out, much as everyone does, you're kind of sitting there being like, well, I got to build something. What am I building? And I wanted to be unique, and I was kind of looking through the rule sets at the time, which was very, very lax at the time, and it allowed fire. Austin even competed with fire back then, and I was like, that sounds very doable. And we went that direction. Our fire was nowhere near as intense as it is now. It was basically like one of those butane torch lighters, like the gun style ones that gives you a nice 3-inch flame or something, but it was much more reasonable. So I started there and had a lot of fun, and just kind of, as with everyone, once you're on an archetype, no one really leaves fully ever. I feel like you might dabble, but you always come back to your home base, and for me that's fire.
It's pretty lit. Too easy.
Yeah.
But I'm a little curious though, because as far as like the origin, so would you say NHRL is like your first big step into the combat world? Did you see BattleBots or grow up with BattleBots, or did you see NHRL, heard about them not too far away, and thought, you know what, I can do this thing too?
Well, as with most people in my age range that are in combat robotics, I definitely grew up with BattleBots, and I remember doing FIRST Robotics, and it didn't really fully scratch that itch. It was like, especially as like, we were a giant team, so the amount of input you really have as one student on a 20-person team or whatnot is very, very trivial. So I wanted more. I remember kind of like I bought an RC like speed controller, thinking like, ooh, I'll be able to make an RC robot out of this, and we got basically nowhere. We had like random RC parts, but we never made any robots. We got as far as taking apart our drills and taking apart all the fun things and putting like 5% of them back together, but we just wanted to get some of that experience we saw on TV, and see people having fun with giant toys. That's the best part of it.
That is the name of the game.
Yeah, and just to be able to come out and like, it's kind of crazy because it was just as much fun when I wasn't doing well. It's in some regards it's like more stressful now that once you have a reputation and are doing well, it's like the expectation is you keep doing that. So there's definitely a higher threshold than the early days when I'd come down and go like 2-1 and be like, hey, I won an event. That was my fire worked. The early days, that's all it took. Like, just getting the fire to work. Especially now, we're kind of privileged with how the fire's set up. We have our own fire area downstairs. We can test basically any time. But 3 years ago, that was not the case. We could only test in like the main cages. So you're having to like test in between people fighting. So it'd be like, hey, can I get in for a test? Then it wouldn't work, and you're like, oh, and then like, oh, we kind of need the cage back. So I'm glad things have evolved with that.
Is this one of your first fire robots here? There's
JT on the top there.
JT.
Yeah.
the one with all the weight holes.
Yeah,
yes,
little beetle, lots of weight holes and torch on it.
Yeah, the truly first one is Good Times, which has the Austin picture. It has a clear lid. That is my original robot. And yeah,
Oh, it's in there some. It's probably in there somewhere.
It's in here
but-
somewhere. I didn't put these in a
Yeah,
smart order.
I didn't. I mean, I sent them to you, and I didn't put them in an order, so it's really on me. I was like, it would probably make chronological order of like beginning to end instead of just how I found them in my phone.
So okay, so this is a 3-pounder though. So tell us about these first 3-pounders that you were building.
So Good Times was I kind of liked the system because it was very reliable. Basically, what I did was I took the whole system that was being used on the torch with like the internal tank, which was kind of nice because it basically had a valve that if you pulled on, it would open up. So I could just take a servo and I like made my own little servo arm and I just like pulled on that valve and it would open up. And then I just had I had it connected to 2 of the torch heads, and then I had like a gas grill igniter to ignite the whole thing, which was kind of overkill. The igniter weighed like several ounces, but we had so much room that it was fine. But it would light up right away. It had 4-wheel drive, which was really nice. I now I've gotten back to the 4-wheel drive, but for a while we were on the 2-wheel drive, and you just don't go straight like you do with 4 wheels. So.
Oh wow!
There's
a humble beginning here. Yeah, so Good Times is sort of like a wide. You have these really wide hoops that go outside, sort of like the drum kits or the Weta kits or the fingertech kits of old. They kind of protect the wheels.
This is such a classic shape.
Mm-hmm. I had seen somebody do that basically, and I was like, yeah, why not? I think, as you were saying at the time, the big kit at the time had it was UHMW, and that was just like cutting board material I found at like Home Depot or Walmart or whatnot, but it kind of did the job. The thing that did more work than I expected was right in the center of those 2 igniters, the 2 torches, is actually like a random piece of scrap aluminum I got from work. and no one thought it was aluminum, so like it did more work than just out of surprise. They're like, oh wow, that's a real thing I can hit, and it didn't just die.
Nice.
Yeah, but it definitely was fun. I met a lot of cool people. Like, it was kind of funny because that first day there, I actually ended up meeting Seth from Just Cause. We ended up like having dinner together and stuff. Like, I think it was one of his first events as well. So it's kind of funny how stories evolve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Little origin stories there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was like. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that was back when it was like, I think we had like 20 or 25 people total competing at the whole event. Like,
Yeah.
we were out by like actual dinner time.
Oh, what a world.
Yeah.
Simpler times. That was still less than 10 years ago. Like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Back with Austin announcing, it was definitely cool. I will say I kind of miss all the cool stickers they used to have of like the anti-sponsor stickers, like
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
But I can see how in this day and you don't want anti-sponsor stickers and try to get sponsors.
It'd be kind of ironic if like the anti-low sticker got more likes than Lowe's. You probably think, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And then Lowe's is like, so we're just gonna leave now, and they're gonna take their sponsored Brett's and golden dumpsters with them.
Yep.
So
okay.
What was it like? Were you trying to be competitive at the time? Did you see flashes of this design like evolving into what it is now, or what was your motivation at the time? Where did you see the robot going?
Well, I've always kind of been a try-hard. I've always liked competitive hobbies, and I've always enjoyed the thrill of winning. But I didn't think I would be where I am now. I kind of thought, like most people, kind of thought that fire would be more of a novelty. That I would win some events, but it would be nothing spectacular. I kind of expected my performances in the 3-pound class to be kind of like the pinnacle of the fire performance. And we just kept trying bigger classes because NHRL highly encouraged it with their limiting of, they're like, well, there's no line, no waiting for 12s, no line, no waiting for 30s. Maybe it's time to move up.
That's the utopia and the
Yeah.
black hole. I guess both are true.
Well, fire is kind of a nice thing for scaling because, unlike
Mhm.
kinetic weapons, you're not having like I'm dealing with the same fire kind of as my 3-pounder. So it's not like, oh, how do I scale this massively? It's kind of like, well, we're still limited on fuel. We can only put now it's 8 ounces of fuel total, so that's not too much more. Where when you're going from a 3-pound weapon to a 30-pound weapon, it's like what 15, 20 times scaling. So you got all that fun. Where this is kind of like, well, fire is still fire in any weight class. We are working on a hotter fire that will be should be coming out later this year or next year. But that's kind of the big differences in fire. There's kind of just the few flavors. It's like you can have a nice big billowing, not as hot orange flame, or you can force some air in there and just kind of have a hotter flame.
Yeah,
Just made Brandon very scared.
I am. I'm more worried than before.
So hard on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I sent you that video a couple days ago, and I have expected a response when you saw it.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I don't think we watched it yet. We can watch it now if you'd like.
Sure.
So, would you like to plug your YouTube? Is your YouTube public? Is this public?
It is pretty much everything I sent you is public. So
okay.
I think there was the fire is well enough. The truth is, it's nice fire.
Like I dislike that.
I have a strong negative reaction to this. Yeah, so you can hear that whatever you've got in the back, like spooling up.
Yeah,
and the flame just becomes much bluer, which is scary. It's scarier when it gets bluer and darker instead of like brighter and like yellow.
Like one's a show off and one's actually locking in.
Yeah,
like
right.
The lock-in fire is like the lock-in fire gets small and angry, like it's repressing, and the gaudy bright fire is like I just want to show. I want to show the world. I want the camera flicks. And so. Yeah. So going alongside that, actually, so other robots that are also developing fire in the lower weight class, like Dutch Oven, Clyde, very famously, or other machines, even a Dragon Princess, a little years ago in the 30-pound weight class. So as you've been sort of scaling from the little burner shapes to what's now sort of the more butane-shaped robots, what was sort of that evolution like?
Well, I think a lot of it was... sadly, especially with the smaller blue flames on camera, when you have the bright white lights, there's times when you can like barely see your flame. And if I can't barely see my flame, I know the judges can barely see my flame. So it's like, even if the big billowing yellow flames aren't doing as much work, you always know when they're on and they're always scoring points. Whereas like those blue flames, sometimes they only score points like when the damage becomes visible like afterwards. Like I know Titanium White kind of uses a flame like that, and he's thinking about switching to more of a big billowy flame for that reason, where it's like the flame's on, but you can't always see it when it's just hot and blue. So, which is also truthfully part of the fear of if we go to the new flame. But I think it'll be big enough that it should be visible.
So I guess since you already sort of brought it up and lean into it more, so what is some of the difference in strategy you have to consider for a flame robot versus a kinetic robot? You think of more of the vertical, horizontal spinners. How do you have to view a fight versus someone who's more that nominal shape? Like, what do you look for to make sure that you're doing well?
Well, at the end of the day, we are a control robot, so part of the sad truth is if the match looks a little more boring, statistically we're doing well, which I've been trying to be a little more aggressive with my driving to try to make things a little more exciting. But, at the end of the day, my goal is to stop people from having devastating hits on me and to make them look ineffectual and burn them while that's happening. So it's a lot of just like, luckily we got the giant forks in the front. So my whole strategy really is just to keep the forks pointed at them, and capitalize on any time I can get in there. Just push them to the wall and hold them there and burn them for the not the full 10 seconds. Release at 8, but as much burn time as we can get. And it's a lot of just keep doing that over and over again and hope things stay your way. Our biggest enemies are kind of the overhead attack bots are always scary. Like, we're so well armored on the sides, but our top is never as armored as our sides. And like all the, Colossal Avian, they honestly did so much damage to me at the last event. I was really surprised. They had taken our frame that we had fought with for like, I think, well over 10 fights. It was probably close to 20. And they actually like bowed out the side of the frame, which I would not have thought would have been really possible. Here, I can grab the frame and show you guys.
This is why you join the streams, everybody, because he can grab the frame, and you poor audio listeners can't see with your ears.
We've got
you live viewers. You can see with your eyes.
Factory. This is the Kazaa factory. Looks
the power, as long as I find it.
Like a dungeon in the woods. Kind of what you would expect.
Of course, I didn't find it. So
some people, you kind of know what their workspace looks like from. You just kind of know.
Oh, you've seen me kind of all over the place at events, and you're like, yeah.
Jameson works in like a spaceship. Like Pete works in a void. He's always sending videos of him in a void.
Yeah.
I mean, that translates well. I mean, his name is Team Cosmos. It's got to lock in somehow in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't think Pete's seen the workshop, so he'll probably have some comments.
Well, I was saying, speaking of teams, your team's 90s kid, 90s kids, if I'm not mistaken. So, what was the inspiration? Was it a millennial statement that we can let the Gen Alphas and the Gen Zers know about this?
I think it was. I'm getting old enough now. I'm starting to feel old. So, the older you get, the more you're like, our generation was the good generation. It just happens. I don't know. I never thought I'd feel that way, but you now you listen to the kids talk about like skibbity toilets and stuff, and you're like, I did we sound like that? Is that how I used to sound? And so I was like the embrace of the pure 90s. Plus, it helped that most of our teammates were from that generation, so I was like, yeah, it fits. We have some teammates that had kids in the 90s, so that counts as well.
Okay, so checks out. It's not like a generational connection.
Yeah.
Speaking of 90s kids, Evil Julian asks from the NHRL Discord, as a fellow 90s kid, what was the worst thing that you did to your family's computer?
It was definitely, I think the worst thing I did was sadly not to my computer, but to the library computer. They had left the lock off, and I downloaded Bonsai Buddy. And then the librarian, a week later, was like, you know how long it took me to get all that stuff off of it? I was like, it looked like a cool monkey. He would talk to me.
Bonsai Buddy is spyware. Interesting.
Yeah, it was just so much spyware.
See, this is what
monkey.
This is what we do behind the bots for, because now we started at Fire Robot and we're ending with
now we're at
and it's a straight line.
And adware discontinued after Bonsai. So you know what that means? You have to do a robot called Bonsai Buddy now.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, and I'm just saying, there is a whole weight class down in 12 pounds, which I'm sure would love more fire up. Wouldn't you agree, Jake?
I keep getting my butt kicked there, though. That's the problem. I keep trying it. I dabble, and
that's what I mean, though. You have to think of it like Alexander. He went, but there's no more kingdoms to conquer. You still have kingdoms to conquer. You could always step down, and you can ruin Jake's life instead. That'd be fantastic.
So we haven't even gotten to fight. We have not fought.
Yeah, we have. we
No.
fought.
No, but it's coming.
No, phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Yeah.
I've not
I was
fought-
like,
I've not
what?
fought
I can't be
Kazaa,
ruined
but
if
it's
like-
coming.
Okay.
No,
okay.
It's coming.
I remember that fight, Jake. That was I was very scared, and you did a lot of damage to that my frame as well. And I like kind of forcefully, I got like super tilted after that, and was like, "Oh, it's not working. I'm just like whatever." Because I think that was the same day. Like my 30-pound was the first time I actually brought like moldy bots for Kazaa Light, and I was like, "Ooh, sweet!" And in the test box, it like lit on fire.
The wrong way.
Yeah, I was like, because basically back then I didn't have all like the internal separation stuff to keep my electronics separate. So without the fuel tanks in there, it was just a giant box that the electronics would like spin around in. And when I was doing my drive failsafe, I think it just like pulled everything to one side and allowed it to short out. So.
Oh, so is this a newer model here?
Most likely.
Yeah. So actually, you kind of speak to that a little bit actually. So some people might think, oh, a firebot is just shoving a butane tank in a robot with like a lighter in front of it and call it a day. But even now, you just sort of hit on something, which is that there's still some level of thought you have to give to a fire robot, not become the fire itself.
Yeah.
It's like how do you design with that?
It's funny because every weapon type has its own caveats that, like, unless you're, like, really deep in that weapon type, you don't think about. Like, the biggest pain point for fire robots, I would say, is friction, because you have tanks that you're pushing on, and your top plate is, if it just closes down a little too tight or you don't make your gaps right, all of a sudden there's too much friction for your, like, relatively not too powerful servo to like push the cans. So I've had more issues with just like oh, everything works at home, or everything works when my top plate is like put on normally, and then you like crank it down before your fight and you're like, my fire's not working. Like I think that was partially what happened with in our fight, Jake, where I basically had no fire. It was a combination of that, and the tanks were basically too wide, so like they were basically pressing on themselves and not allowing it to push forward either. So there's like weird caveats, because to get the fire to work, it's actually really relatively simple. You just need some type of ignition, and then you're just like pushing a tank and pushing it towards it. The other big caveat that I at first didn't realize, but like from talking to other fire people, it's like everyone kind of came to the same realization, is that at least when you're doing the style where you're just using, disposable tanks, you can't just immediately push on that tank as hard as fast possible, as fast as the servo will go, because it'll actually push it too quickly, and you'll get too much butane, and the fuel to air ratio will actually be too rich, and it will never ignite. So what you have to do is actually use the like slow mechanism to have it move at like a second or so to move that distance, and then you'll hit the sweet spot and get ignition.
Interesting. So this is a little controversial. Something that has like been kind of up in the air recently is flame bots working back in the test box in the back, and then getting to the cage 1 or cage 3 and then not working. What does the workflow look like for you guys, or what did it look like for you at the most recent event, both in terms of weapon functionality and testing, Twitch testing over there in the fire area? Because for me, it's kind of a black box. I've never been over there. So what does that look like?
I highly encourage you to build a fire robot and come join.
More in the dungeon.
Okay.
But it's not too long. So for the last, I think since the Pro Tour, I'm pretty sure, what they're now having us do is actually test the two separate components. So they want to see our igniter and that the fuel flow is happening. We don't have to prove that fire happens, partially because, like as I was saying, like that slow process, sometimes it can be a little finicky, and we're limited highly with fuel. So you're basically wanting to waste as little fuel as possible. especially because at the beginning of the fight, your can's full. So like each burst is giving more fuel than like wasting more fuel than like, it would be at the end of the match. It's just like your flow's so high then. So they make us test both of those independently, or they make sure that works and that your drive works in the arena or back in the test cage in the fire section. And then once you do that, you basically leave the bot alone. They don't let you touch it or anything. It stays that way until it gets brought over to the cage. And now they're actually having us test it again in the cage, which kind of seems it's like, if we test it back there, do we need to test again? But I get that the ref wasn't able to see it back there, in the black box type area. So it makes sense that they want to see it, and I get why it's happening. No one wants to not have their weapon working, and I know it seemed to happen after that fight with Macabot, where my weapon died like as the countdown was happening. So that was fun. It seemed like something internally shorted, so it was so everything was working when we did the test, and then a short happened, and that puff of smoke happened, and then the fire wasn't working. But so. And it's like, I don't know. I guess it's a weird thing that we're tough enough that we can still do well even without our fire. Like, truthfully, when I was first designing this bot, that was kind of, we didn't know how effective fire would really be in the 30-pound class. Like, we're like, is it going to just be like, a fly on a horse? It's like, oh, it's kind of annoying, but we can take that all day. Or what? So we were like, you know what? We have all this extra weight. Let's just put it into armor, and at least we won't die. I don't know if they're going to die, but we'll go the 3 minutes, hopefully.
Do you think that's a big part about the design for Kazaa having that very tanky ability? Because I think generally in a 30-pound weight class, and it's something that most people have to sort of struggle with, is they have giant kinetic energy weapons, is you have to pull so much weight out of your structure to give that back to the weapon system. But because that scaling factor of fire versus Beetle to 30, do you think that's a huge benefit for the machine, because you can have like that ultra tanky chassis?
I definitely do. I mean, we've taken a lot of hits that a lot of other bots would not be surviving after that, and we're relatively fine. We still lose drive motors and all that fun stuff like everyone else, but it's normally not a complete knockout. And that's that is highly by design. Like Ainz has 4 separate receivers and 4 separate batteries. So in order to make everything stop working, you have to kill 4 circuits.
Oh, gee.
He gave it 4 health bars. Oh no.
Yeah. I got real quick.
See, stream viewers, you get this. You get this.
Fuck over there.
That's right. We're in a real 3D space.
Wow.
I just abandoned you guys. They're separate now. So the actual lifter mechanism is a whole separate module that's basically just mounted on, and that it's like it's the same like lifter Julian is using and a bunch of other people. It's like this Amazon 300 kgs. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. I just wish it was brushed. It's got like it's like a old school drill motor in it or whatnot. So
yeah,
it's not the most efficient, but it gets the job done. And then Pete redesigned Ainz or Light for us. So this is the new version that, because they lowered the fuel capacity, we were basically having to run an empty can before, which was empty weight. So he got rid of it. But the cool thing you see is, so we got the left side, right side module, and then this is our fire control system in the back. So that's why it's hard. We oftentimes will lose a drive, or more often than I'd like, side, but I don't think we've ever lost both sides. So And the part of the fun is with cleats is that I've learned that even if you lose one motor, like the cleat grabs so well that the other motor on its side is like, no, you're still crab walking. We're still unhappy. But I definitely love cleats.
So
Yes.
Actually, like a little sort of staging question. Were you familiar a lot with the Robo Games era, with Original Sin, Sewer Snake, and all of them?
I watched a little of that. I definitely was more a BattleBots person. I think at the time I never liked how they had I thought it was unfair that there was just these giant robots kind of in there with the other robots. I was like, that's not fair. But I got to go back and watch them. I truthfully haven't seen them all. And at this point, it's like any robot content. I'm like, ooh, give it to me.
Yeah, the addiction kicks in strong. But I bring it up a lot because Original Sin is pretty much the Kazaa before Kazaa, if you could imagine it. I think the difference is that its wheels are exposed and your wheels aren't. But it's essentially unkillable wedge that has, later on, it will get flame added to it. And same with Sewer Snake. Sewer Snake has lifter on it, things like that. Because it was so tanky that it could do so much just by sheer control and dominance. Yeah. And so I was curious with the tail that you added with the big Amazon special servo. You're curious if that's sort of a way to add more of the articulating bits that other lifters get and the fire. So sort of diversifying. Because you mentioned earlier about the fights having to sort of be more slow, grindy by nature of Control Bot. I was curious if you were trying to add that as both a way to maybe escape the wall, but also try to add some flavor in case the flame wasn't that bright.
Well, I won't lie. It was 100% designed to escape the wall. Everything else was a nice bonus. When I realized it could lift up the back and make more fire come out. I was like, that's nice. Or when we suplexed Red Storm, I was like, I did not see that coming that day. But I was like, hey, he's on my tail. He can't move. Let me hit the switch. Hey, he flipped over. But yeah, before Ainz is basically only lost by getting stuck on the wall. Every time it is lost, that's how it's happened. So we were like, hey, that's how we're losing. We need to correct that. Because normally it's not as big of a deal. Me and Pete there, it's hard for both of us to get stuck on the wall. Or it's hard to need more than one unstick with the two of us. But with just one robot, and especially being square, having long forks, not a crazy amount of ground clearance, it's really easy to get stuck on the wall. So it's kind of ironic because at June's event, I didn't actually use it all to unstick me from the wall, but I guess it's better to have not needed it and have it than needed it and not had it. So I was happy. I kind of messed up, and when we fought Little Lash, I had I hadn't realized that the pairings on my phone were still from the morning. And we had fought Colossal Avian earlier, and I thought we were fighting Colossal Avian. So we set up to fight him, and we didn't have the lifting arm, and I was really scared we were going to get on that wall. But truthfully, we listened to Pete, and he was like, "Just don't go near the wall. Stay in the center, and don't be silly and go near the wall." And that's what we did. So
just win, so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I still am kind of amazed that it goes out and wins as much as it does. It surprises me as much as I feel like it surprises everyone else. Every event I go into my first fight with so many butterflies in my stomach. It's gonna all fail. It's not like I've fought 30 plus fights at this point with it and it's fine. It's nope. Everything that can go wrong is about to go wrong. It's not gonna turn on. 3 of my 4 receivers won't turn on.
I know that well. It always gets you, no matter how many times you do it, because robots just have stage fright. And you never know why.
Yes. That is the worst. Is when they have it, and then you never figure it out. It was didn't work down there. I went upstairs and it worked. Who knows?
Yeah.
So thinking back on the June competition, you fought Whiplash into Red Storm into Colossal Avian. Who do you think? I thought out of those three, you were
One of
really
them,
in a
maybe.
yeah. One of them maybe would have beaten you, but who do you think your toughest matchups are? You're talking about nervous before every fight, which I totally get. But who are your toughest matchups in 30s right now?
Well, I really think the overhead attack bots they just hit in ways that we're not used to. So our armor only gets tested for them occasionally. So every time it's like, oh, please be enough. And even like the last time, like the first, that first match we fought Colossal Avian, I was using my 1/4 inch Hard frame, which is like our standard frame, which is like, oh, that's overkill for an overhead attack bot. And then, then they went and bent it. So you never know. So triggered. I'm like, it's statistically within a couple feet of me.
Oh, I had another question. This is kind of working backward, but I had a question. So you were talking about how weapon weight with the flamethrower you have less weight dedicated to weapon.
Mm-hmm.
About how much weight are you dedicating out of your 30 pounds on irons and on light?
It is more weight is dedicated to storage space. So like having to store it does take up space, but the cans themselves are like empty. They're like an ounce or so. So it's like 2 ounces, and then the rest of it is like really tiny.
Servo,
basically,
yeah, because you've got the servos.
It's a servo. There's a 450 2S 450 battery back here.
Yeah,
and that's basically or over here, and the receiver and that one servo you're seeing, and then the fire side, we use hot surface igniters, which those have been kind of problematic because we had broken so many of them, because basically it's like a little piece of like igniter, like a stove igniter, so it's really fragile, and combat robotics has a lot of G-forces. So I was actually pushing them into, oh, here's one. Oh, that's a sheared off one. They're basically,
no.
I'll show you one real quick. No, they're just little sheared off things. So that, like, this is like a full glow plug, like a car glow plug. They're like nowhere near that big. They're basically able to fit right into, let's grab one. I actually have this one. My teammate Ryan gave me some. So they're really tiny. They're basically like this big. So they're just like little guys that basically you apply. These ones are 12 volts, but the ones I use are 6 volts. So you just apply 6 volts across it. It actually doesn't like 6 volts. I 2S it's very happy off of, but 6 volts it's like I won't really ignite. So
it's like maybe the length of a pinky. Like it's pretty small little guy.
Yeah. And these are actually bigger as the 12 volt ones. What is kind of interesting is because there's not the second ground is actually the copper part. So a lot of times my like parts of my robot end up having to be grounded. So that's kind of caused, it's never really caused issues with the only issue it ever causes is if you have the metal cover and you short to it. So we learned that quickly on, and now we make sure our access holes are very large and our screwdrivers are covered in the Kaplan tape or whatnot, and haven't had any problems. So
Interesting.
But I like that over spark or whatnot, mostly because the spark generates a lot of noise. And it also can kind of like arc back through stuff, especially because a lot of the RC switches will control the ground and when you have like high voltage, it's like, oh, you turned off my ground. Oh no, what if I just arced through this circuit?
Yeah.
So, like I did have luck with using a dedicated relay to kind of control it, but it ends up just kind of being. but each iteration, we were pushing these directly through the sides of our ignition chamber, which is basically just that. It's that box in the front. It's just basically there to allow the fuel and air to mix kind of a little bit, and then you see the inside. You actually see the compression fitting in there. That's actually where the igniters are inside of there now, in order to try to protect them a little more. And it's not so much. It's a lot of protecting them from the shock, because before we were actually getting hit hard enough in the front that it was like shearing off the tips of those igniters. So we've had less issues with that after the protection, putting them inside of compression fittings. So yeah, there's always so many little things that make such big differences. It's always amazing.
So, would you say, as far as like the excuse me, like for Kazaa scaling, because we have one listener question, which is about if you were to scale to heavy AYZM on NHRL Discord, as about like Kazaa heavy, like how would you see that breaking down? Because it sounds like the flame part wouldn't be very hard for you, because you can pretty much get an enormous amount of fire for the weight. But it sounds like a lot of other stuff is what's like your main focus there.
Yeah, well, part of the truth is I know that, like, in all reality, the only venue currently really is BattleBots, and BattleBots doesn't allow just fire. So if we were actually going to scale up, it would require adding some other, like, full weapon, either probably a lifter or something. But I would probably do as many multi-bots as they allow you to compete with. Like, so if they, like NHRL allow you to have 4 bots, that probably would be my plan, to have 4, larger than this version's Kazaa, but just kind of keep that multi-bot aspect and play with it even more. Like, I've honestly kind of thought about making a 4-bot multi-bot, but it's just the logistical nightmare of it keeps me from wanting to attempt it. So it's like, yay, I'm all done. I made 1 bot. I only have 3 more to go.
Yeah, that's going to compound pretty fast then, yeah.
Yeah. But I would love to see a larger version. It's part of the fun is NHRL is pretty much the only venue that is really dedicated to fire as your weapon. So it's like we kind of have to stay within NHRL. Maybe one day they'll make a bigger class. I think people were talking about, like, I know when you had Ray on, you were talking about like 120-pound class robots. Like, I think that'd be kind of cool or whatnot. Like somewhere in between, so not as crazy as those 250-pound bots. Which I'd love to be on a team one day, but it is so crazy just seeing those, and just the how things scale is crazy. Like, the damage you take on that. But it's also crazy that I guess a lot of BattleBots use less armor than I use in Kazaa. So
yeah, no, BattleBots are pretty crazy. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we come back. We're going to talk about maybe the June event and other sort of tournaments you've gone through with Kazaa.
Sounds good.
Whoa! And we're back with special guest Josh Rhinehart pulling out Kazaa Eins.
I found the bent frame. Look how bent it is.
Oh boy. You can see a little bow on the sides there from sort of being like peeled open. Like you're trying to pull open like some jail bars or something.
It used to be like this.
Geez.
And that was done by an overhead attack bot. That's what's crazy to me. Like, they hit us and managed to pull bow out our side. Like, we were honestly going to run, thinner sidewalls against, JMO and everyone. And now I'm like, I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, like now we're sort of looking at, ironically, I think it's the finals of June here between you and Colossal Avian. So we kind of see the first bit about the butane. Like we see like this big puff of cloud, and then it ignites. Is that what you mean by being a little rich in oxygen first?
Yeah. So basically, when we added the protection, I think it's transferring some heat away from the actual igniters and making them not ignite as well. We also put that. I put a little in front of the actual igniter now is a piece of metal, and I'm thinking it might be causing it to eddy around it or whatnot and not actually hit the igniter. So I think on one side I'm going to actually remove that protection and just have it be like, hey, this is our better igniting side, and this side is like our backup igniting side. But it basically always ignites. Part of the good thing is once we get our kind of pinning a bot, there's enough ambient fuel in the air that it will kind of oftentimes just ignite from that. And the
interesting, yeah, because right now you're kind of
we also made it since a year or so.
Hey Josh, we're losing you, bud.
So the nice thing is they the fire, other things happening. Oh, are you losing my picture or my audio or
your audio a little bit? I think we're okay now. Are we okay?
I can hear you. Got that
now.
So I'm back. It went green. I realized there's a green. It's happier when it's green. It was red for a second.
Okay. Okay. Would you like to introduce? So I'm familiar with you, but who are your teammates that are always cage side with you? I'm not familiar with them. I don't think we've ever been.
So we have kind of a eclectic team. We have a bunch of people that come sporadically. Like Pete is always there if Kazaa Light is fighting. Pete will always be the driver for the other half of Kazaa Light. My girlfriend Steph, who was there in June, is also a frequent person. She is normally my fire operator. Before the start of this year or the end of last year, I still controlled my own fire. I was like, you got to fully control your bot to be, it's don't have anyone else doing stuff. But then at finals, my fire got stuck on at one point, and I got fully entranced with trying to get it to turn off instead of doing the smart thing of just driving hey, my fire's on. That's not actually a bad thing. So since then, we've always had somebody controlling the fire, so they can fully worry about the fire and whatever it's doing or not doing.
Cool. So you guys are a team. You're working together. She's operating the fire, and you like that.
Yeah. It's nice totally. Because you're just kind of I am a little less picky with when my fire happens, so I kind of give her full. I'm like, hey, whenever we're close, and then you can do fire. Pete is a little more particular. He wants fire right when he wants fire. He wants to be able to go up, not have any fire, be able to see their forks and everything perfectly. Where I'm kind of well, I know the fire's coming out of the front of my robot. That's where everything is.
The robot is there. Fire's there. I'm good.
Yeah. My opponent is clearly more confused than I am. They don't have any reference for where their robot is oriented based on the fire. I do, so.
Yeah, right now we're seeing this match with Little Lash, and first of all, insane ground game. We'll get to that in a second here. But in that first interaction you have with Little Ash, we're sort of pinned against the wall. It's consumed by light. Like there was no orientational direction of where Little Ash is besides in the fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like, oh, I really hope it escapes. And that's kind of what he has to do after the pin. It is as much figuring out where the robot is as much it is a figuring out where you are and trying to escape with it. But
and I think
that is a big observation.
Lucked out with Little Ash because whenever he would pick us up, luckily our forks were long enough that we would get under him as well. So instead of really picking us up, he would end up just like pushing his back end out, and it would work out quite in our favor. Like that was the first time we pushed into the wall, and we kind of just were able to utilize that. I felt like
by like a half an inch.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. It's so close, but it was scary because they like us are very good at stopping the house bot. So if we messed up one time and got up on that wall, there was a good chance the match was just over. So we were trying to be a little more slow and controlling. We were staying more in the center and just kind of like it felt a little. Not like I love being super aggressive, so it kind of felt weird to be more of a like, oh, okay, I'll let you dictate the fight and just kind of try to capitalize on mistakes and not make any myself.
Yeah, so like, go ahead, Jake.
What do you think makes your ground game so good, and what do you think about when you design your ground game?
Well, truthfully, the ground game is one of Pete's domains. So the saying we kind of have is, if it touches the ground, Pete's probably working on it. If it doesn't, after I designed it. So he was the first one to bring forks to the equation. We were originally using like side protectors, kind of like I was using on my first spot, Good Times, and thinking those counted as forks. Like, hey, we can corral the person. That's ground game. And he was like, no, that is not ground game. And then we used his forks for the first time at the Pro Tour in 2024, and it was very different. I was like, wow, this is a very different experience. It was definitely an interesting day because that was the first time we ever drove with Pete, and for the first match we were actually fighting against Rhinehart XXL, and they're a fellow Texas team. So Pete was like, he was like, hey, these are my people, so I'm not, for the first fight, you're kind of on your own.
That's not very, so he's going very yeehaw, and you're like, oh, man.
yeah. And it kind of worked out weird where we ended up unintentionally like burning them, so we got a forfeit. We got a loss, but it probably was what we wanted it anyways, because then we got the next round was a bye, so it was like, yeah, we'll take the loss and not have to face like, I think we would have had to face Emulsifier or somebody unfun if we won. So
yeah,
funny how things work out.
It was Emulsifier. Yeah, I remember this event. This is when they nearly destroyed the arena like twice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty glad I wasn't in there.
Is this arena smaller, or is Rhinehart XXL just huge?
No, Rhinehart's like half of the heavyweight in size. Oh, it's very big, 30-pounder.
Yeah.
It's, if you remember seeing Spartan 30, it's kind of like that. That's the robot.
Oh my god,
Spartan was big. Yeah, it's a big boy.
Makes it
it's
look
part
like
of why.
Beetle Cage.
Exactly, it scales very well to that Beetle perspective for the big bot, which is very funny thing to have to say.
Crazy.
Yeah, like
man, I kind of forgot about this robot.
We haven't competed in a while.
Yeah,
we have not. 30s have not. We do not forget him.
No. I still want a rematch, but I'm still afraid.
So you kind of mentioned before about the ground game. So I think some observations I remember hearing from people is very unique about fire. And I think that fire probably has the longest reach of any machine, because depending on how you want to structure your flame, in this case, like the big bright flames, you're kind of just, there's a very long reach you have with it, with and without forks. That's kind of implicit already. It's like you're able to corral somebody already with the forks, but in theory you can kind of be off of them, like not even with the full, depth, you could say. but the flame can simply just like hit you. It's like a maybe a 2-foot flame at peak, something like that. Yeah, does that like play a big factor? Do you think in how you're able to aggress? We're able sort of to say, okay, I don't need to have them like fully on me. I just need to be like near them and then blasting, or like how does
it
that
definitely makes
it?
It's kind of funny because truthfully, with from our first iteration of forks, I kind of like highly copied Colossal Avian's keep away forks. I was like, ooh, those seem to work pretty well. Like we're in the same boat. We don't want our opponent to actually be touching us. Like we're happy with you being 6 inches away. So I was like, let's add those, and we've kind of just kept iterating on them. We now have like the super long forks that we used in June that like are ridiculously long and keep the opponent like a foot away, and the keep away part is actually part of the fork now instead of being TPU, so it's harder to get ripped off. And we haven't really had too much issue with them getting ripped off, thanks to last year Pete was able to get us Tri-City Lasers as a sponsor, and their steel is amazing. I don't know what it is, but it's all. Well, I think I know what it is, but it's
600.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Sen cut Sen quality. It's like real quality. So we can take hits on our forks now and not have them rip off.
Yeah, like here watching the fight with you against Red Storm, I can see you using that tail, sort of tilting up a little bit, and you're just sort of blasting down into Red Storm. And it's funny because you're not even fully on it. Like it's maybe on like the edge of the fork tips, but because the flame reaches and he was stuck on a wall, it was, it looked incredibly painful if you're Kevin, because you're kind of like, I cannot escape the range of this flame, and he can be like a little off of me and still doing it. So I definitely see it. But as far as like, go ahead.
Oh, I think what honestly did the most damage to Kevin was he decided to not put on his wraparound armor, and without that, his wheels were nowhere near the normal level of protection. So a lot of it was, for one, slamming into people into walls really did some work, and his wheels did not like that.
Yeah. So no, it's strange. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and lifting up the back definitely, because we eventually are probably going to go with butane cans. Some of them have what's called an anti-siphon, where it'll be designed to it'll be a tube that comes out in the bottom of the can and like goes down and up. So when the can's laying horizontally, it will just be pointed up to only get actual gas. Conveniently, if you turn that can over, now that siphon is only drawing up liquid, and then you're pretty much guaranteed to always be sucking nice liquid for as long as you can. Where on our cans, since there is no siphon or anything, once the fluid gets low enough below, like once it's no longer half full or so, it's no longer dispensing straight liquid, so our flame drops off dramatically. And you'll actually kind of ironically see it like splashes in the tank. So like when we're backing up away from people, a lot of times the flame will become bigger because the momentum brought all that butane towards the actual nozzle, and for a second we're getting actual liquid butane to be spraying again versus the gas.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like you have a level of chemical play that is different than most, I think, any other archetype. Probably outside of pneumatic flippers or even hydraulic crushers. You ever see any of those? We pray for his return, but still.
I want to build one, kinda. I don't think has there ever been a crusher at NHRL?
Not at NHRL. There's been a Sportsman crusher at Motorama, and there have been a handful of them over the years that use linear actuators to try to simulate it too. But hydraulics are just, I think, as you said, fire scales the 30s very well. Hydraulics scale the heavyweights very well. You get a quantum. Yeah. Quantum's perfect. But you get to 30 pounders, and it's like, okay, well, now the cylinder you need to create 1 ton of force is the same, because you still have like an 1/8 inch of steel, and that requires several tons of pressure in a very small point. And that just, makes more sense when you have like a 20-ton reservoir or 20-ton ram with big reservoir in heavyweight. So it gets a little funky. But I would love to as well. I have a couple ideas, looking on here and there. Well, eventually we'll get there. But it's still really, really cool to see Kazaa, especially with the steel frame, like a welded steel frame. So I want to bring this up too, because most robots have, generally speaking, plastic, in the small weight class especially, plastic like UHW, carbon fiber, TPU, and then that kind of overlaps in the 12-pound, 30-pound division, along with aluminum and some generally bits of bolted steel and aluminum together. But Kazaa, I think, is the, if not only, at least primary robot in the weight class that has a welded steel chassis versus the more bolt-on parts of other ones. So how is the service for that like? How is it like maintaining those kind of chassis designs?
Well, luckily, that was truthfully a big reason why we got this shop. We have the ability to weld downstairs. I can weld, but much like any skill set, it's I haven't put in the hours or whatnot at this point to have my welds be the quality I want them to be. So we have on our team, luckily, we have a welder now, Kenny, who's been welding his whole life and can weld anything together, and he makes so many other things possible. He frantically welded our frame when we before Red Storm. We, as I oftentimes do, I'm like, yeah, the bots, we didn't take much damage. The bot's working. Everything's fine. We'll charge the batteries and put it together later. Then, you charge it, put it together, throw it in the test box, and you're like, oh, it's not driving well. Why is it not driving well? That's because that frame that Colossal Avian bent, they didn't just bow out the side. They actually warped the whole frame. So we had to frantically convert our horizontal configuration over to a forked configuration, and that would have only been possible with the welder, with Kenny, especially because I don't know why, but every time we go to NHL, their welding configuration is different. Like at Pro Tour, they only had TIG. This last event, they only had stick welding. So. Kenny was like, I got to do stick. I haven't done stick forever, but we'll make it work. He's like, hold it still. I got to strike the arc.
Man.
And it was 10 minutes before we go down. It was kind of funny because we were really worried. Our frame was really hot. And then luckily we were trying to put water, wet rags on it and stuff to cool it down. And then everyone was so hot, they made us all take a break. And we were like, oh, perfect. Our frame gets to cool down.
So you had fought Avian in the beginning of the day.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did. And that's why I was like, wait, that's why we were pretty scared of them. Our first fight, we were like, yeah, they're not JMO. And then we walked away and been like, oh, yep, every overhead attack bot is just as scary. And they all put that crazy effort into it.
Yeah.
No, now you bring it up, since you did mention JMO. If I remember correctly, we go back to something that happened last year, a little thing called the World Championship. Where you're currently the reigning 30-pound world champion. You unseated the Emulsifier Megatron dynasty that's been going on since the inception of the class at NHRL. How was that like? How was that, both the feeling having achieved it and the progress to get there too?
Well, the first time, it was kind of crazy because I guess I keep saying that, but everything's crazy. But the first time we fought them, a little over a year ago now, we were so nervous. I remember on the way walking down to the cage, Pete was basically talking about the emergency plan. He was like, okay, when are we tapping? What are the things? We can't get too destroyed here. And I was kind of like, well, as long as our top's not ripped off, and stuff's not all over the cage, let's just keep it, let's keep it rolling. And that's kind of what we did. I lost half a drive pretty early on, thanks to getting all kinds of thrown around. But Pete kept on him. I limped around and got some good pins. That was my favorite pin was when he overshot trying to get Pete when he went flying, and I was like, oh, I had mentally already calculated if that happens, I might be able to grab him, and it just so happened I was able to pin him, and I was like, yeah, that's the highlight. And after that fight, I really didn't know if we had it. So many of Kazaa's fights are so close that it really is a coin toss, and I really felt that way on that fight, and it went our way, and things have been going well ever since. Every time I fight JMO, again, just as scary. Like, fought him at the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour, and
Yeah, Pro Tour,
that was definitely scary. I could have seen that either way. It's like, but facing with Imes was even scarier because at least when with Kazan Light, I got Pete in my corner, so it's like anything bad that's happening is happening to both of us.
Now it's we take damage, not just he take damage. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little proud though that JMO was on a podcast like a week before, being like, no, I don't really pin the house bot. Then as soon as I got on the wall, that was the first thing he did. So
yeah, you put fear. Funny how it worked, but that's the heart of a champion. A champion
doing
says,
things you otherwise wouldn't do is stooping to means that you wouldn't reasonably do. Doing the unreasonable.
Yeah, like here you are in the World Championship Final 2025 fighting Little Lash. And I just know, like having seen him earlier in the day, Matt's out here, he's like, I gotta stop that house spot. I cannot let him get free. Like he knew very well that if he doesn't stop him, that you're going to have a very rough time because you are 2-1, and if you don't get one down, he can't knock you out. He doesn't have that kind of KO ability, given the more control-based nature of it.
Yeah, and so far, luckily, knock on wood, I don't think in any Kazan Light fight we've ever fully lost in the modern day. The early days we did lose one, but since Pete we have not fully lost a bot. So that's kind of one of our goals.
The Peter Garnache era.
yeah. Well, it was like the pre-Pete era. It was a lot jankier back then. That's when things lit on fire. That was before we had the nice separation things. Like those little TPU things do so much more than I initially thought they would. It's like, everything's in its own little home and like doesn't want to just roll around or fly out. And it's funny how a lot of like the improvements are little things like that. It's like not a giant step forward. It's like, a couple inches. You're like, let me try this. And that works out. And then it becomes a staple,
As long as you're doing something, and that's a big thing that I hit on with my students is like, just do something. Like it doesn't even matter if it's good or not. Just something will do, because the alternative to something is nothing. You can't have that. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to make your robot better, but something, even if it's small, will make your robot better. So,
and even if it's in the wrong direction, like you know where you are now is like, because what kind of kills me is there's so many people that will have a bot, will fail in some way that it keeps failing, and they're just like, well, I just repair it and go back out, and it's like, but shouldn't you do something to address that clear issue? It's like, I got spares. Where every event we basically like are changing something, whether it's just like igniter position, where the tanks are, our servos, where the batteries go. Like I used to jam all the electronics like into the sides for the igniters and stuff, and then I was like, wait, we got space behind. Why are we like wasting all that room? Same with like we used to have speed controllers in the front. And but we realized we could fit them all into that middle section, so we were thinking that might reduce a little bit of the heat, but the fun is just everyone's bot gets hot when there's a fire bot. So my bot gets hot, my opponent's bot gets hot. We're all hot, so you have more things like heat sinks separating and stuff like that. So, but
a funny thought I had, does Kazan run any better in December versus June? Because now you have like a colder ambient versus a warmer ambient.
It's funny because before I would complain that my fuel was colder. I was like, the fuel has less energy. But I think there's a real logic to that because like in June, we lost 6 batteries. we basically, we came with 6 drive batteries. We lost all of them. And that hadn't happened before. We had lost a few, but I was like, what's the big difference? Like Eins is heavier than Kazaa, so like that's a factor that I didn't really factor into it. But as you were saying, like the big difference was June was like 80 degrees in there versus January. That's all your speed controllers and everything are way less happy. So And with most circuits, the resistance goes up when the heat goes up, so you're drawing more power.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, that runaway. So we are gonna give Eins bigger batteries. I ordered right now I was using 750s. We use a 4S 750
Wow.
for each of our drive sides. Yeah, for
That's
the two motors.
Crazy. That's so funny because like most heavyweight featherweights, I guess because of the kinetic bias, most people are going much heftier because the weapon system to draw out of it, or at least like separating the batteries more. But 754S, that's like two Beetle weights. That's probably as much. Actually, Jake, do you have more power in Maximizer for the 6S and whatever?
I got a 6S 1800, so I'm right at the same. Because you're what 2S?
We're 4S. So we're 4S 750. Then we're 2S 450 for our igniter and our fire system. And then our lifter circuit is 6S. It's kind of funny now that we have 3 different voltages in the robot.
Kind of like works out that way. Yeah, I could do the head math, but yeah. It sounds like you've got about 3/4 of what I've got. That's kind of
We were on 6S before, and we were having issues with batteries running out. Like that's pretty much why we lost that JMO fight. Was our batteries, like the 2024 one, our batteries were just a little too small, and on 6S they just died. I think we had 6S. They were like 600 or something. They were. We didn't go up a crazy amount, but especially dropping down from 6 to 4, we're not using as much power now. And truthfully, we really didn't notice the difference, especially once we added cleats. It honestly drives so nice.
Wow. So 2 big questions probably to have you before we perhaps reach our end here. So one, so for the difference between Eins and light. So what's your opinion with the weight bonus factor of light having 2 multi-bots, even if they're maybe a little bit lighter, versus Eins having the single but perhaps a little bulkier build? Do you notice much about the difference between the 2 of them?
Well, 2 is always better. I would take 2 any day. I mean, truthfully, the only reason Eins really exists is because Pete lives in Texas. So if Pete lived in Connecticut or whatnot, I think the light would be continuing to go. So and maybe we did ourselves a disservice with Eins because it looks like we're probably going to have I did the math and it looks like Eins should be the second ranked like open bot, which I don't know if they kind of want two basically the same bots being like, first and second. It's like 1 bot, that's an anomaly, but 2 do we have to do something?
Yeah. That actually kind of leads to the second one. So with all the dominance you've had, namely between Eins and light, how has that success been both good and bad for you? So on one hand, I can think of maybe like lots of trophies, maybe in a good chunk of change going with it. It's always pretty cool. So what some of the pros that you see from it? Oh, he's even showing us the shop just to make us a point. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what you see on a stream. It's like you have the pros and the cons with the dominance that you've seen with Eins and light. What's some things you notice as they've now gotten to this extremely good level?
Well, I definitely miss kind of being a nobody where you can just kind of go to NHL and you don't get any extra attention. If you show up late, no one's like freaking out, or if like I feel like we've had a lot of rules and stuff like written to help us be better people. So I feel like you get a penalty if you're not there by 9 was directly to help us make sure we're there by 9. So which it has. We haven't missed one. So little things like that, but it's definitely, it's also nice to be at a point where I know so much about fire that I can help teams and really be able to help. Like, I helped MIT get their fire working at the June event. It was like they had some issues, and it was like, nope, we're changing this up. We're moving this around, and if I wasn't a world champion or whatnot, I'm sure I would not be like, yeah, let me go like completely mess with MIT's bot and feel comfortable doing that. Like, yeah, I know more than you. It's okay. I'm the fire guy. But the fun is, like, most people kind of come into fire with the mindset like, oh, fire's not that crazy. We push the igniter and it works. So I think they have kind of put more energy into like the novelty things, like their drive system is crazy. You know, they got the well, I forget what it's called, but they can drive horizontally. But I was kind of like
Mechanism wheels.
Mechanism wheels.
Yeah,
I'm like,
their
do you
mechanism
use it?
stuff's insane.
But it's just like so much to think about while you're driving. I'm like, I couldn't really imagine actually trying to fully drive a mechanism wheel to its full potential. You know, like I'd always feel like I left something on the table with it. So, but and
each
even
one of their wheels has like 10 individual wheels, and so
Yeah.
for one robot they need like 40 wheels, and then they have 2 robots plus spares. Like I was just doing the mental math in my head of like what it would take, and like to get two copies of 2 robots, it's like 160 wheels that you got to make. Like I'm not, I can't really count past 2 anyway. So 160 is a little high for me.
I won't lie. I kind of miss the days of just buying the pre-made wheels. It's so nice to cast your own wheels and have them, but it's also so nice to just be like, I need 20 wheels. What do you know? They showed up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What are you doing for cleats right now? Are you doing AR or are you doing titanium?
Yeah, we're still on AR. We're on AR from Sencut. It's not Sencut, from Tri-City.
Yeah.
The Sencut Sen ones, I don't know if it's how their lasers are or what, but like the Tri-City ones, the points are actually sharp. Like they will cut you. Where the Sencut Sen ones, like if you look at it, like the tip was at like a slight angle. Like and I know like when I had a local place do it, they were kind of like, oh, it depends on the thickness of the metal and all that, like, you know, but like I don't know if there's multiple options. I know you're more in the machining side there, Jake, but it's just like they're so much better. They actually work, where the Sencut Sen ones are like, we tried them out and it felt honestly like driving on like ice. It was I'm kind of grabbing.
Yeah. Well, what I'll notice is that because I prefer to swing one direction, it'll get laggy swinging one direction because it'll dull out the cleats. And mine are titanium, and I water jet them at my makerspace. And if I didn't have that access to that tool, they flat out would not work if they were laser cut, just because the water jet can hold such a tight edge. So that's why I asked. That's interesting. So it's 3 mil AR.
Okay.
Because the water jet doesn't melt at all, right? Because it's water.
Yeah. I wonder if they're. I'll have to ask Pete, because he's more in touch with the Tri-City people to see if maybe that is why they're
not a sponsor, by the way. Not a plug.
Nope. They're just good people.
Absolutely.
But yeah, since we've gone to cleats, it'd be hard to go back. I was going through all my wheels, and I have like a box of wheels. I'm like, I guess I just need to sell these old, the Banebot wheels. I'm like, I'm probably never using them, but as every robot person is, it's like hard to. You're like, but what if I need them one day?
You want to burn all the stock. You don't want to have it be unused and buy it again.
Yeah. Plus, no one ever really, like, you buy each wheel for like $5-10 or whatever, then you try to sell them, and people are like, it's not exactly the wheel. I'll take them all for like $1 a piece or something, and you're like, oh, fine. Like, I was thinking about doing that. Just be like, you want a box of wheels? Here's the whole box. Just give me give me something.
Yeah, shout out to Zoe. She loves dumping the old stuff from Honeycracked in like the share bins, whatever, NHRL. People love taking scraps off of it.
Maybe that's what I should do. Just bring a ton of Banebot wheels up. Hey, I've definitely taken stuff from there. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it looks cool.
Yeah. So I guess one big sort of reflection before we closing out here. So what do you think is the direction of fire robots, namely, or what is your direction perhaps? Do you continue with fire? Do you think fire is going to grow a lot at NHRL? Do you think fire is going to be nerfed at NHRL? Or do you think you're going to switch off to something else? What do you think is in the future for you in Flames?
Well, I plan to stay with Flames. We are building. We've been playing around a lot more with 1 pounds, especially now that it's like the summer break. And we have now actually built a kinetic robot, which is kind of crazy. So we've built building a better big wheel. We built a dual hub big wheel, but it was really more like a medium wheel. It was like it had 2 of the repeat ant weight hubs on it, like in the center in like traditional big wheel fashion, but only with like 3-inch wheels. So we have like the kinetic stuff, so we might try to do more kinetic stuff because I do like the idea of not just being a one horse pony or whatnot. Having I've always looked up to JMO, and JMO's a man who can beat you down with any robot. So I don't want to be just like, oh, yep, here's Josh. If it ain't Flame, it ain't winning, But also, it's kind of like Flame's heyday right now. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, And that's even partially why I think I haven't really worked highly on the bigger, bluer Flame, because just kind of like based on your opinion, your how you reacted. Like I want to win, but I'm not trying to send people home in puddles or cause thousands of dollars of damage. Like that's not my goal. I'm happy when a lot of times people are like, yeah, it just like, it overheated and then it turned back on, I'm like, oh, sweet. Good. It didn't cost you much money, because, we're here to destroy people's stuff, but it's still, we all have to pay for it. So
we're very reasonable,
Yeah.
the stuff destroyers around here, I want to destroy your stuff in the minimum way that I have to make sure that I can win.
Yeah. You can I'll scare you enough to tap out. That's ideal. So we've kind of waited on that, and part of it is like, if we did make Kazaa a lot better and it was fully melting people, I'm sure the haters would be even more like, this shouldn't be allowed at all. Look, who can beat that? Where at least now that's like a lot of the hate or the aggression is towards the fact that we are an impenetrable wedge that can burn you, but isn't necessarily going to, it's not going to cause you to. It's not like fighting Clyde where you're like, yeah, two pins and we're dead, So, so I think Kazan will probably stay as it is for the foreseeable future. Keep stay as it is, as in always keep iterating slightly, but not anything crazy. I had a lot of fun with the hot honey, and I really enjoyed doing the collab. So I'd love to do more of those, because I think multi-bots have so many advantages, but one of the biggest disadvantages is having to build multiple robots. So when you can,
Yeah.
you can outsource that to other people. It's like, hey, we got all the pros with none of the cons, and it's even kind of just cool fighting with like different people and like getting their fight style, and like it's funny because I'm so used to having 2 Kazaas, so it's like, oh, they're gonna go after one of us, but there's not a clear target. Where like with Hot Honey, it's like one's a lot tougher than the other. We're going after the other one. So it's like, oh, I gotta protect them. So I really enjoyed that. Would love to do some more collaborations or I'd still honestly love to do a 4-part fire bot where I got like 4 different people to all like build their idea of what a fire, a quarter of the fire multi-bot should be, and just kind of see how everyone does it differently, but still have them all fighting together as one team. But the overhead attack, like mixing in the different flavors is definitely fun too. Like, forcing people to be like, yeah, you got to adapt to fire and also kinetic. Like, one person can pin you and then you can get hit, and it's pretty real. So I definitely want to explore that more. We're liking the big wheels for the 1-pounders, so maybe we'll build a big wheel 3-pounder and go in the complete opposite direction.
Interesting. So you sort of go high and go low, and you can sort of figure out the pros and cons in between. Nothing like learning from your greatest rivals.
Yeah. What about a big wheel with a fireball? That sounds interesting.
Yeah. You know what? Then better yet, if you make it very good at controlling, you can have some like other thing to go with it. I don't know. It's big wheels. You can do whatever. Robots up here, all the robots down there. You can put stuff in there.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Maybe I got to reach out to some of the big wheel people and see if there can be a future collaboration.
Man, the hot huges, the big wheel fury. I don't know. You'll figure it out when he gets that band name.
Yeah, that's a future problem. You know, we got the current problem is figuring out we're bringing an ant weight a big wheel for July to the next event for they have up in Mass. I forget by Glenn's event. Always fun.
Boxomania?
No. His little events he runs at the RC store up in Pittsburgh. There's like a monthly. It's like CMC Madness, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm bad with names, but yeah, it's any combat robot event is always a good time. It's like, you know, no matter who's there, like, you know, it could probably be my worst enemy in the world, and if you had a combat robot, I'd be like, oh, I guess you can't be that bad.
An excellent viewpoint. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like I guess I might have been wrong. So, but we're hoping to maybe host a few little tiny like Friday night things. I actually yesterday bought a ant weight cage so I'm excited. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I got some space. So we could possibly like, you know, at least get like some friends together and throw down. You know, I'm building my girlfriend a bot, so I was like, you know, she's gonna need some place to drive, and it'd be fun to just fight her or whatnot. You know, definitely a little more expensive to fight yourself, but still fun. You know, at least ants aren't as crazy. You know, like the hits are, you know, are nothing. They're like, oh, okay, I would not want that to happen to me, but it wouldn't be world ending where, you know, you get hit by a phenomenon or whatnot, and you're like, where'd my leg go?
You're kind. You're very kind. I've been washed for too long.
Hey, you're gonna
maybe I'll be good again.
You got that dumpster. You got a dumpster.
Yeah, ages ago.
Yeah,
but I want to get another.
That's who doesn't want another dumpster, you know?
So real.
They're addictive.
Once you get one, you can't stop.
Yeah, you got to get the new flavor. They're now powder coated. They're nice.
Yeah. No, I need to collect them all. I need to get some Bretts too.
Pop down, show the difference.
Ah, yes, for the streamers. He's getting to show the new shiny dumpsters. Yeah. Oh, so wow, it's so vibrant. It's very vibrant color.
Yeah. And it also, you know how when you open the dumpster, it smells like paint? It doesn't have that feature anymore, so.
Wow. See, everybody? Just win some dumpsters. You too can have a dumpster you can smell.
Yep. And I sadly killed the screen on my golden Brett, so I gotta fix that guy. I accidentally overvoltaged it.
Yikes!
So it doesn't light up anymore. Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, it's kind of funny because they never actually show off them lighting up. I kind of feel like when they give it out, they should come out with like a power pack and like have it lit up.
Oh, having like blinking or flashing or something to show it's like alive.
Because by default, it actually, once you apply power to it, the lights light up just like the regular Brett.
Nice.
Yeah, which it won't do anymore because I put it came with a power supply that was a little like flaky, and like I had it hooked up by my computer, and when my computer was like, it was probably my computer's fault, but certain like it would do stuff, and then all of a sudden the lights would blink, and I was like, and then I found a variable power supply, and it worked fine, except for when at the time I accidentally turned it up too high, and then it stopped working.
Well, just want a spare. Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I figured if I can make combat robots, I should be able to fix a electronic circuit. So it's, but
That is fair. That's fair. That's reasonable. It's honest.
But as all the things are, there's that list of priorities. It's always like, yeah, I want that working, but we got an event this weekend. That's clearly the top priority.
Yeah. You're like, come on. Like, I want to fight more robots. Like, it's cool to have it. But I want to be able to fight Jake Maximizer in 12 pounds. Like that's the kind of thing that comes to mind. I want to beat Maximizer into their dumpster. Simple as that. Simple goals.
They're so hard. I tried them like 2 events ago, and like there's just not the weight for like all direct drive, so I had to use chain drive, and that was like so much.
The cage is so much larger too, so you're gonna have a hard time smothering people because they can get away. They can get. There's room to get away in the 12-pound cage, and like 12 pounds don't have flamethrowers, and we don't have walkers, and I think that those are both for the same reason, which is the cage is so much bigger. So yeah, it makes sense.
Well, you're saying it's like a challenge. So
do it, man. Let's do it again. You snapped my blade last time. It was a pain.
You bent up my frame pretty good. So yeah, that frame got reused as into the new 12-pound frame. So I don't think it fully exists as it is. But it definitely, the biggest thing I realized was my whole problem in that fight actually was I was using the repeat. His 12-pound drives, they have the shaft size. Yeah, the Ultras. I couldn't get, because I was using the Banebot wheels, and there was not a Banebot, hex shaft that fit on it. So I was using, a round shaft, and I was like, oh, that'll be fine. And, of course, the set screws backed out, and, all my wheels were, rolling, except for the ones the 2 that were still connected were the wheels you, annihilated. So, I was like, well, half that wheel's gone. Oh, that's the one that's still well connected to the hub. Oh, these ones are fine. Nope, free spinning.
No.
So, but every time we learn a little bit more about 12s, it's just painful. It's like I feel how everyone else feels in all the other classes, where it's like, oh, I went 1 and 2, yay.
1 and 2, baby.
Yeah.
It's a hard class. It's a sweaty class, but we'll eventually get back there. Eventually, we'll have the full weight class spread going on. 3s, 30s.
Yeah, I feel like hopefully for the next Pro Tour they'll have some more 30s. That'd be nice, but I guess we'll see when that's going to be.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, thank you so much. It's been so interesting learning about Kazaa, the most dominant 30-pound flamethrower ever. It's been great to hear about your story, about your process, that little bird in the background, whatever, as you explore the wilderness of Connecticut.
You want a tour? Here's all the stuff ready. It is pretty big. So I have a downstairs as well that's even bigger.
Stream access. We're going down below.
Yeah.
back rooms
here's my welding. Here's my ghetto heater. In the winter, there's it's negative in here, so I have to have
a cancer rocket. I know that one. We had a cancer rocket at my job.
Yeah. That's when I learned the price of kerosene. I was like,
yeah, it's really expensive. You blast it, you heat up. Yes, you blast it, you warm up, and then you turn it off as quickly as possible. Yes, the cancer rocket.
Yeah. All right. I just used diesel in it. I was like, how much worse can diesel be?
All right.
Yeah,
you're the flame guy, so you tell me. All right, good seeing you, Brandon. Thank you guys. Behind the Bots, you can catch the VOD over on Behind the Bots and at all of our relevant podcast posting locations, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Player FM, and Podbean. Thank you so much, guys. This has been Behind